Okay, Tov, today's daf is daf Pei Daled in the dorm, right from the top of the page. What was the discussion? The question was when a woman said she's not going to have enough from briot, from people, human beings. So the Tanakama said, the Mishnah said, you can't break that, right? And you could also she can eat like a chikampeya, which is available to everybody. If she hasn't what to eat, she's poor, she can eat like a chikampeya. That's what the Mishnah said at the beginning. So the Gemara asked the question, what do you mean, Ein Yochel L'Hefer? He can't break it. Why can't he break the neder originally? She's not going to have enough from Brias. If he's included in that, then she can't have enough from him either. Oh, well, the reason is like a chikampeya. So does that go together? Is that the reason? The beginning of the Mishnah says he can't break it, presumably. It doesn't say he can't break it because she could eat like a chikampeya. Can't break it, presumably because she could eat from him. So he's not included in Bria. When she says, I'm not going to eat from Bria from human beings, he's not included. Then the Gemara said, well, another opinion is, yes, he is included. Ula said that he isn't, not Ula, Rava said he is included. And the reasons, the Mishnah is giving a reason. Why can't he break it? Because she can eat like chikampeya, so she's not prohibited from eating food, even though she has to go schlepping around and stuff like that. But, she brought that upon herself. She doesn't want to eat from other people. She likes eating like a chikampeya. So Rava said that's the reason why. But the first answer of the Gemara was that that there's two reasons over here. One is that the reason he can't break it is because she can eat from him. She can eat his food. She said when she says brios, she doesn't mean to include him. So so the question is, in other words, if you say that she can eat like a chikampeya, so it's presumably because he is included in the so the husband cannot give her that he's included in brio. So she eats like chikampeya. But the first answer, the Gemara Mishnah said that Ein Yochel L'Hefer can't break it, not because mishum sheyachol chikampeya, but rather number one, he can't break it because she can eat his food. So what's the problem? He's not included in the brio, and also she can eat like a chikampeya. So that was the first answer. Ula said Lolam, the husband's not included in brios, but it's two reasons. Number one, if she makes a neder, I can't have any enough from brio, he's not included in that. So there's no reason for him to break the neder. She can eat his food. Besides that, she could also eat like a chikampeya. That's how Ula learns. Rabbi says, no. The truth is he is included. But the reason why, Rumi, you're back. You had a good flight? He was here yesterday morning.
Yeah.
He flew back, and he's there again, right? Yeah. So he's back on here. So the second reason that Rava says that's the reason. The truth is he is included. When she said I don't want to eat enough from brios, the husband's included too. The reason he doesn't break the neder is because she could eat like a chikampeya, so she doesn't have to eat from any individual. Like a chikampeya is abandoned food that's free for everybody. Then the Gemara gave it to pardon. Because it doesn't affect himself because she could eat like a chikampeya. She's not under any doesn't affect the relationship. She doesn't want to eat his food. Fine, she wants like a chikampeya. She doesn't want meat. She wants grains, whatever. She's on a whole wheat diet or something. Whatever she gets, that's her prerogative. He doesn't have to break it. She has other food. But if she doesn't affect him at all.
She goes out collecting poor people. That doesn't.
Well, if she chose that, apparently she doesn't mind that.
She doesn't mind it. What about him?
No, apparently he doesn't mind if it would affect their relationship. And then he could break it. But we're assuming here it's not affecting their relationship. But Nachman gave the same answer as Ula. Nachman said Olam Baal is not included in brios. He's not included. And what we're saying over here is so if he's not included, why does she have to like a chikampeya? She could eat from him too. I'm not going to have any up from brios. So she could eat. But he's another in this garsha. If they later on they get divorced or he dies, whatever, even if they get divorced and she doesn't eat from the husband, right? The whole is not that she can eat from the husband now. But even if the husband's not around later on, the neder is chal, and she can eat like a chikampeya. And we said, and this is going with the idea, like the Ron explained, that what she answers on herself now is effective later on also. It's effective both cases, both now. Right now she has a husband. So when she says, I'm not going to have enough from brios, the husband's not included in that. He could right now, she could eat his food. And even if they get divorced later on, she can eat like a chikampeya. Okay, now
if he dies or gets divorced, and she remarries, so the new husband is included in the brios.
Of course, that's correct. Correct. Not only that, even if he was a netter that he wasn't included on it, he can't break the netter anyway because he can't break a netter from before. But he'd be included, of course. A space. We're at the top of Pei Dalet, today's daf. A space, Rav Nachman. You, Rav Nachman, said like Ula that the Baal is not included in brio. That's the A space, Rav Nachman. Ubaal la b'chabria, so that you should really say the husband's not included in brio. But tonight we learn Netula Niman Ehud. We had that mission. We mentioned it before. We're going to have the mission, the last mission in the Masechet. If she says, I don't want to have bia with anybody, any Jews, nobody. What can he do? There we said that's beino lebeino. As we said before, apparently that bia is not, not having bia is not an affliction, at least for the woman, it's not, right? It's not an affliction for her. But it is beino lebeino, it affects their relationship. He can break his share. When she cannot be with him, for all other Jews, she can. What do you mean? If you say that the husband's not included in the brio, now listen carefully. She said, I'm not going to have bia with anybody, right? So we say, what does the mission say over there? He can break the netter as far as he is concerned, right? He breaks the net as far as he's concerned, so she can have bia with him, and she's forbidden having bia with everybody else. So listen to the way I'm reading the Gemara the way we have it on the fifth line. Nidra inin nefeshu. It comes out that it's an inoy of netter nefesh. V'yefer lalom, and should be able to break forever. How does that mean? We already explained that bia is not inoy nefesh. So the Ran has an explanation over here. If you have the girsa like we have, he brings this down as a different girsa. But the girsa is this. Listen to this. If you say that the Baal, right? If you say that the Baal is not included in brio, okay, so the Nal's not included in brio. So what's the Yisr over here? Listen carefully. She says, I'm not going to be with anybody. Who is she allowed to have beer with today? Her husband, nobody else. And she says, I'm not going to be with anybody. Okay, what is she doing? She's not talking about bia because bia she can't have with anybody else anyway. And the husband's not included. If you say Baal la b'chal brios, Elamai must be that when she says Natulam Behudim, she's not referring to bia. She's referring to payros. She's referring to fruits. That's how you have to explain this the way the gears that we have. Baal la b'chal brios comes out that we're not talking about bia at all, because bia with her husband she could have. The husband's not included in brio. And she's also on everybody else anyway, so we must talk about nefeshu. If it's in a nefesh, meaning like she's forbidding herself from all human contact, or nobody can sell her any fruits, nothing like that. So it is inu nefesh, so he should be able to break it. Elamai, so why can't he break it? Why do you say that he can only break his chelik, not for everybody else? He should be able to make it la'olam. La'olam means she should be able to make it entirely. Remember, we learned about inu nefesh, you break the whole thing. It's not a partial, like the 2 loaves of bread for this or for this guy or for that guy. This might be another proof, Moshe, that you could break it for everybody, for not only for himself, for everybody, but it could be his prerogative, whatever. If you could exclude it, and as he didn't be efilolim, you should be able to break it because it's in an nefesh. So break it for not only for everybody. Lolam here means everybody. Break it for everybody because that's in nefesh lagamri. If she's not going to have enough from anybody, Elamai must be not like you say, Rav Nachman, that Baal is lava. If you say Baal is included in brios, okay, there we understand. If you say Baal is included in brios, fine. So she just forbade herself from having bia with everybody, including her husband. So you can break it as far as he's concerned. That's beina lebeina. But if you say the Baal's not included anyway, so what is her prohibition over here? She's not going to be with anybody except for her husband. Big deal. That's her status today too. Right? A regular wife can be with her husband, can't be with anybody else. She says, I'm not going to be with anybody else. So what's the chiddush in that? Must be that she's talking about inu nefesh. She should be able to break it for everybody, not just for him. Why does the Mishnah say, Yeh for chelko, just the opposite. It should be that Misham Shasa, well, we'd serve him. The lashon would still be difficult. Hey, Misham Shasa, if it means that. But it's anyway difficult because why shouldn't he be able to break it for everybody? So the Girsa takes out a melacha, but we're going to explain the kasha a little bit different in a minute because the Girsa that the Ran has in the Gemara is different than ours. But the Gemara's answer, anyways, shani ochad the mucha milsa dalater kasher nafsha. Now here it's different because you're right. Normally the Baal Rav Nachman will maintain that the husband is not included in brio. The husband's not included in brios. And why we talk about leket shekampeya? Okay, either like Ula said that 2 reasons. Either number one, he can't break it because she can have enough from him, or because she can do leket shekampeya. But Nachman said either because he's not included in brio and she could eat from him. And the reason we mentioned leket shekampeya is even if she gets divorced later on and he's not around, she could still eat leket shekampeya. But over here in this case, in the case of Natul and Meir Yehudim, the Muchamilsa Dalatekras Nafshe, it's obvious. Yes, normally the husband's not included, but over here the husband is included when she says, I'm not going to be with anybody. Why? Who she said the husband's not included in Brio to Korban Nachman. But here it is. Because what else is she talking about? You want to give this whole answer with it. It must be talking about Payrus. Doesn't make sense with Misham Shelsa, which means Tash Mishamita normally. So we say normally Rav Nachman will maintain like Ula that a husband's not included in Brios. When she says Brios, the husband is not included. But in this case of Natul Midim, he must be included, because otherwise what's she talking about? She's married to this guy. She's not allowed to have beer with anybody else in the world, right? And she says, I'm forbidden to have beer with everybody. So what is she talking about? Talking about the husband, because she's already forbidden for everybody else. So it's obvious in this case, it is included, she is included. That's all if you learn this whole Dre, with the Girsa that we have in the Gemara, because Nidra in an Nefesh Ve'efel Alom, what does that mean? It must mean that she's talking about fruits. But the Ran's main Girsa is, take a look at the Ran in the widest lines, 6 lines down. 6 lines. Rav Nachman, Natul Yehudim. Listen to you could ask the kasha very simply. Rav Nachman said that husband's not included in brios. What about the case of Natul Yehudim? She'asra hanos tashmishim aleh. If he said husband's not included, what's the problem? If she says she's married to this guy, she can't have be with anybody else, and she says, I'm forbidden to all Jews. Now we're saying now that the husband's not included with the Jews, right? Husband's not included according to Nachman. Husband's not included with the Jews. What does he have to break it all for? It says what does he do? He breaks his share, and she's moved for everybody else. What do you do to break anything? He's not included. If you say that,
Meaningless.
It's meaningless. Exactly. It's exactly. Says the Ran, like Rav Nachman says, and like Ula says, what does he have to break it? He's not in the Yisr at all. That's the simple way that's the Ran's main girsa. The girsa that we have in our Gemara is what the Ran refers to about 10 lines from the bottom of the page. We should be able to break for everybody, meaning for everybody, like we just explained, because he can't be talking about Bia if he's not included, if the Baal's not Bia. So who is she answering? It must be she's talking about food. Talking about food, it's already in an nefesh, you should be able to break it. So the answer is, either way, the Gemara's answer is the same thing. That yes, Rav Nachman maintains that normally the Baal is not included in Bria. Bria means generally people. But in this case, he must be talking about, because what else is she answering? He said, your kasha was if the Baal is not included in Bria. Ran's girsa, and the 6 lines from the 6 lines into the white lines. If the husband is not included, then you have to break it for it all. She says, I'm not going to have beer with anybody, right? I'm not going to have beer with anybody. So what? He's not included. Everybody else is anyway also. What do you have to break it for? There's no reason to break it. So the answer is because, yes, normally the husband's not included, but here it's evident that he is included, because what else is she talking about?
What about the future with Nidgarsha?
Oh, that's what he says. So the Mishnah says, Eini Yochel Lahefer. Why can't he break it? Because Eini Yochel Lahefer, because he's not included in Brio, just get about from him. And if it's a Skarsha, where she won't be able to, then he is included in Brios retroactively, so to speak, or in the future. That if we talk about Rav Kiva and Rabbi Shmuel, we mentioned and said yesterday, we talk about something in the future. Okay, it doesn't work. It works both now, both people who are Brios now and people who are Brios later on. Her husband becomes Brios later on when it's a Garsha, then he can have like a Shikampaya. The point is that Rav Nachman and Ula maintain their ground, that the husband is not included in Brio. But in the case of Tul Behudim, he must be included, because what else is she talking about? She can have beer with him, she can't have beer with anybody else. She says, I don't want to be with anybody. Well, who are you talking about? Anybody else you can't have anyway. And the husband's not included, so she must mean in that case to include the husband. Yeah.
She can't obviously have beer with him. But when he takes her back, is he considered?
Okay. So first of all, he breaks the neder as far as he's concerned with her right now. So therefore it's broken as far as he's concerned anyway. And since he can take her back, right? So it's still he broke that neder already. He broke the net as far as him and her are concerned, right? So we had before, right, he broke the netter as far as they were concerned. As far as they were concerned, he broke the netter. So if you say like Rav Nachman that he's not included in the brio, but over there he was included in brio, so he included there and he broke the net already, so it's broken. We were talking before about breaking it after the fact. When he still take her back? Is it still in nefesh beit lebeino? If he didn't break it yet, or after they got divorced, but before they take her back. We had that question before, but here he says he can break the netter right now. B'teina tulamei, he can break the netter. He can, as far as they're concerned. If he divorces her, and we're talking about the bia, but still he had already broken that. As far as they were concerned, he was broken already.
Why not? She said this, but she said that she doesn't want to give hanot to anybody.
Have hanot from anybody.
Well, it can work both either way.
Well, but in this case, we're talking about she's having
anybody is one thing, but it's saying I don't want to give hanot to anybody.
That's different. That's not that he can't break that netter. He can't break that netter anymore. That's what we had before. We had that case before that we said that Shmuel said. Listen, look back on Pei Beis and Aleph, halfway down the page. I'm a Shmuel, Mishmei Levi. Call Nadarim. We said Nadarim of Ini Nefesh. Baal Mefer Lishto. A husband can break any Nadarim that involve Ini Nefesh. Again, we said the way Rambam and Shmuel goes like Rabbanan, not like Rabbi Yossi. Not like Rabbi Yossi. He holds that the Rabbanan are more inclusive of Inui. And they say that like the Nadarim of washing and things like that's a Ini Nefesh. All Nadarim a husband could break for his wife. Chutz min anasi al ploni, except she says my hanos also on other people, this guy or these guys. She'ena mefer, you can't break that. Why? It's not beina lebeina, and it's not in the nefesh. Can't break that netter. You have to go to Talmud Chacham. Says the Gemara, Yichol let us make a shiur payah. So we said in our Mishnah, she could have two reasons, right? Two reasons. According to there's two reasons. If she says, I'm not going to have anah from people. No, he can't break that. He can't break it because she could have an offer from him. Number one, if you hold that he's not including brios, and number two, she can have an offer from like a shekampeya, which is alms for the poor that all poor are entitled to. But Loktani Maiserani, what about Maiserani? If she can't have an offer from anybody, including her husband, she's poor, right? And where's she gonna have? She's effectively poor, even if you have a lot of cash, but you can't buy anything, you can't get any food from anybody, you're poor. So why doesn't it mention Maiserani also? That's another thing you talk about. But Iva Tanya, Maiserani, Iva Tanya, but Bryce, we learn a Bryce over Maiserani. So our Mishnah says you get a lot from like a Shikampaya. A Bryce learns not only like a Shikampaya, but also Maiserani. So why doesn't our Mishnah mention that? Amar Yosef Lokasha, Rabblez or Rabbanan. We say it's a machlokus Rabblez and Rabbanan. What's machlokus Rabblez and Rabbanan? The Tan Rabblez or Omer. What is Demai? Demai is when you buy produce from an Amoritz, you're afraid that he didn't take Meiser properly. Truma he takes, because if you don't take Truma, the whole thing is Tevel. And if you eat it, you're Chayav Misa. And it's a big Chumrah. And you're not allowed to eat Truma. So we assume he gave the Truma to the Kohen. But the Meiser we're not sure about. So you have to take Meiser again. And when you take Meiser again, what do? You take the Meiser, which is 10% of the crop. And you give 1/10 of that to the Kohen, Trumas Meiser, because that's also a kind of a Truma. And the rest of the Meiser you could eat because you don't know who's going to take it. You're entitled to eat Meiser. If I give Meiser 10% to the Levi and I invite it to the Levi's house, I can eat it. Truma, I can't eat. The Meiser you can eat by Azar. So over here he doesn't really have to give it to anybody because who's going to claim? A Levi's going to say it belongs to us. Prove to me that the Amoritz didn't give Meiser. Maybe he did. It's a suffix. We don't know. So that's the halacha by Demai. What about Meiserani? We assume that we know that the Amoritz gives Truma. Meiser we're not sure about. So Meiser, you're mafresh. You give the 10%, you take off the 10%. You give 10% of that to the Kohen because that's Trumas Meiser, and the other 90% you can eat. What about Meiserani? Right? There's Meiser Sheni, Meiser Rishon, Meiser Sheni, and the third and the 6th years there's also Meiserani. What about Meiserani? So Rabbi says, you don't have to even say Meiser Sheni. You can forget about it. You don't even have to say in the pile over here of produce Meiserani, because that's not a problem. In other words, even if you eat it without being mafresh it, it's not a problem because it's not tevel just because you didn't give meiser. But chamomim, no. Koreshem, you have to say this meiser. I'm giving 10% of this meiser ani. Again, you don't have to actually give it because go prove maybe the Amoritz gave the meiser, right? But you don't have to just koreshem vein soch bi'af mafresh. My love, what's the issue over here? Lamanda Amar Sveko. Now I'm reading in the Bach. Take a look at the Bach at the bottom of the page. But the truth is, you know what? Let's read the way it is in our Gemara. It's the same thing effectively. Let's read in the Gemara. It's easier. Lamanda Amar Sveko Tovel. The one who says is suffix. If he gave the meiser ani or not, it all is tevel, and therefore it's like you're chayiv misa. So it's like tova sana. Even though you're not chayiv misa, the Chum say, if you for sure didn't give meiser ani, it's tevel. If you didn't give meiser, it's tevel, and you're chayiv misa for that. So lamanda, in the case where it's a suffix, it's considered like it's like tevel, meaning it's forbidden to eat on punishment of misa b'nei shemayim. So it's like tova sana. You have the ability, you get the goodwill. In other words, if it's your crop, you can give it to whoever you want, and in return for that, you get goodwill. Maybe the grandfather will give you some money for it, whatever. The kiva this like tova sana, lo mahani. Since it's tova sana, she can't have enough from that guy. What are we saying? You're saying she can't have enough from meiser ani, right? That's what the Brisa said. And our mission didn't say meiser ani. What's the issue over here? Meiser ani, is there tova sana there? In other words, the one who gives it out, is he entitled to goodwill or not? The one who says that it's a question of tevel, you have to be mafreshit, that's the chacham, koreshem, beitzach lafashel. You have to mafreshit, but you have to at least say there's meiser ani in there. True, you don't have to give it to the ani because go prove that the Amoritz didn't give it. But and you could eat meiser ani itself, not forbidden to eat. It's supposed to give it to the ani, but you have to be mafreshit. So the one who says that if you're not mafreshit, it's considered like tevel. You have to call it. This is meiser rishon, and this is trumas meiser, and this is meiser ani. It's like tova sana. Since you have to call on it, you have to decide that this is meiser ani. So you're entitled to get the goodwill if you give it away. That means you have some financial interest in this pile of produce because you can give it to whoever you want. Even the islay tova sana lo mahani. So since you have a financial interest in it, the woman who swore she's not going to have enough from everybody, including you, can't have enough from the meiser ani because he has a financial interest in it. Lamanda Amar. The one who says you don't have to bother, Rabbi Lezer, who said you don't have to bother even saying meiser ani, you don't have to mafresh it. So it's fake and that's that. The chosh is fake and a tov, less like tova sana. For sure, listening, man, you can have enough from it. So that's the chor, the machlokas of here. Our mission says you could have the kshik from payout. Meiser ani, no, why not? Because meiser ani, whoever's giving it has a financial interest in it. He has a tova sana because he can give it to whoever he wants, and as such, you can't have enough from him. Because if she's having his meiser ani from this guy, she's getting something that's worth money. And the one who says that no, you can have meiser, not only can you eat like a chicken pay at the Bryson says you get a meiser ani, holds that there is no financial interest in it. I'm only buying. No, that's not a good answer. Everybody says that it's a suffix. It is tevel. It's considered like tevel, and you have to be mafresh. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbanan Bakum, here's machlok. Rabbi Lazar savar lo nechshei amaretz meiser ani. Very simple. When Rav Lezer says, if you buy produce from an Amoritz, from meiser ani, you have to take meiser rishon, right? Meiser, you have to truma. You don't have to worry about, right? They're afraid of truma. Meiser rishon you have to take, and you have to give 10% of that, 10% to the coin. But meiser ani you don't have to worry about because they always give meiser ani because they have nothing to lose. Why? Lo nefshe Amoritz on meiser. They're not suspected of cheating on meiser ani. Why? The kivan. Since he can abandon all his nechasim, the Havayani he'll himself before for shakla, he could take it. So Leslie said he has no loss. In other words, he'll if he wants to keep it, what's the reason why an Amoritz might not give meiser? Because he wants to cheat, right? If he wants to cheat, it's not a problem. He could declare it meiser ani and then keep it himself. He could become poor to give himself. So therefore, he wouldn't cheat. That's why Rabbi Lezer says that. You can't, that you don't have to declare this meiser ani in the pile in the produce that you buy from an Amoritz. That's what it is. Everybody always Vesveko is stepping, but if you're not sure if he gave, if you're not sure if meiser ani has to be declared. If it's not sure if it was given, you have to declare meiser ani, otherwise it's tevel. And therefore, everybody would say that you have a financial interest in it. But here, there's a different machlokas over there. The machlokas is an Amoritz suspected of cheating on meiser ani? Rabbi Lezer says he's never going to be cheated because what does he have to lose? Declare it Meiser Ani, and if he wants to keep it, he could just make all the Chasim Hefker and he could keep it. Rabbanan Sabri, Nichse Lemafgrinish. Person's afraid to be mafker all his Chasim. The Mir says he's afraid. Dilmazachi by Nishachrina. How do you mafker something? You have to say in front of 3 people, I mafker all my assets, then quickly run and grab the Meiser Ani. But a person would be afraid to say I'm after all my assets because somebody else will take it, right? Therefore, they are suspected. The Amaratzim are suspected of cheating on Meiser Ani. That's the machlokus over there. This doesn't answer our issue. What is our issue? Our Mishnah said that when she forswore, when she says I'm not going to have enough from anybody, even if the husband's not around, he's divorced or he's dead or something like that. Still, she could have enough from like a shikapeh, so he doesn't have to break the netter. Even if he's not there, she has to make it because she has like a shikapeh, not Meiser Ani, not Meiser Ani. And the Bryce says you could have enough Meiser Ani. Why? What's the difference? What's the kind of between our Mishnah and the Brisa? This business about Reb Lezer and the Chum is a different machlokas. Everybody holds there that if you have a financial interest, the issue over here is can you rest assured that the Amoritz was mafresh Meiser Ani or not? Different machlokas. So Rava comes along to give an answer to our Mishnah. Rava, I'll tell you the difference. The pasuk says, one pasuk says when it comes to Meiser Ani, it says you should give it out, right? You give to the Levi. Another pasuk says, leave it there. Leave it at your gates, and they'll come and pick it up. So it depends. Rava says that's what we're talking. That's the difference in our Mishnah and the Brisa. If you're giving it out in your house, in other words, when she said I'm not going to have enough from anybody, and now she's poor, like a chicken pay she could take. But you want to go to the guy's house and take the Meiser Ani from him? If he's giving it out in his house, there's some goodwill involved, right? Because he's giving it to you. Maybe you'll do him a favor, or somebody will pay you to give it to this particular person. There's goodwill. Therefore, she's having enough from him because he's giving it to her directly. So there's some goodwill involved. So there she would be forbidden to take it. That's why Mishnah says only leket shekampeya. Leket shekampeya is totally abandoned. You can't give it out to anybody. You have to abandon it. It's like Shemitah. You have to abandon, let anybody come and take it. So Rava says, our Mishnah is speaking about where he gives it out in the house. That's why she can't have enough from him because there would be goodwill. But let's say he takes a Meiser Ani, the 10%. He's going down to Florida and he puts it in the granary where there's a big sign in the granary. All poor people are allowed to come here, right? Huh?
Like we did for Shemitah Hefker.
Yeah, Shemitah Hefker. Yeah, everybody can come. All the poor people can come and take it. So there's no goodwill involved because there's no relationship between the giver, the donor, and the donee. If you leave it there, then she's allowed to have enough. So our Mishnah that talks about only leket shekampeya is speaking about where the Levi, where the owner is giving it directly to the poor person, the owner of the granary. I keep saying the Levi. The owner gives it directly to the poor person. The Bryce is speaking about where she gets it from the granary. The Ran says, some say that one is in the winter, one's in the summer, but there's 2 different opinions about the winter and the summer. He says in the summer months, he leaves it in the granary. When it comes to the winter, he brings it into the house and he gives it out. Some said the other way around. He gives it out. And the Chama, they put it, there he leaves it in the goren. So some say that here's a little bit strange, right? Right? Some say that some say the other way around, but it seems to be saying the Ran says the same thing. Ran about 4 lines from the bottom of the page. He says, in the summer months he leaves it outside. That's really the same thing. Okay, so the point is that he leaves it in the winter. In the summer months he can get it out in the granary. In the winter months he gets it out from his house, and that's the difference between the Mishnah and the Brisa. Yeah.
Why did the Gemara give a simpler answer? That it's actually related to this last thing that you just said about summer and winter. Leket should compare every year.
Yeah.
Meiser Ani is only the 3rd year and the 6th year.
Right.
So what the Mishnah, what our Mishnah mentions is what's always.
Right.
And I mean, it's just,
And the Brisa mentions only the
mentions
36th year.
everything,
But the answer is that the grain can last for several years. So you get sometimes it's available all the time, right? That's you have to get rid of it. And in the 36 years, you have to you go through the vidur and you gave it all up, but it could last for several years. So it could be you have to be mafish it in the 36 years, but it could last other years. Or we wanted to give an answer that would be more all inclusive.
Sometimes the Gemara just wants to go through all the theoretical possibilities.
Right, could have said that. All right, says the Gemara. Now the Mishnah said then, not in the case of the end of the Mishnah was not talking about a case of a wife and a husband. She made a neder, he's breaking it. Can he break it or not? He's just talking about in general. A person says, I don't want any kohanim or leviim to have an offer me. So what does he do with the truma? So the Mishnah said, kohanim leviim nehenim li, they could take it forcefully because he can't keep it anyway. No kohanim can have an offer me. So how does he give out the truma? So you take it forcefully. He says, these kohanim, these leviim, so other people could take it. So either way, doesn't have to break, the neder doesn't have to be broken. Kohanim leviim, they could take it against his will. Even though he made a neder, then when a man makes a neder, nobody can break it. A husband can break his wife's neder, a father or daughter, but a man makes a neder, nobody can break it. You have to go to Talmud Chacham. So he says, Kohanim leviim, does he have to be mata? What is he going to do? The kohen can take it against his will. But if he said, these kohanim, these leviim, so give it to the other ones. So that's what the Mishnah. So let's understand the Gemara. Again, this idea of goodwill, or I'm going to get something in return for it. The fact is, how can the Kohanim Levim take it against his will? He forbade them from having an offer from him. Kohanim and Levim, the Kohanim, let's say for Truma, and the Levim for Meiser, can't have an offer from me. Now there is some Tovas Hano there, right? Because you can give it to a particular Kohen, maybe. The Kohen's grandfather, who's Yisrael, might pay you $5 to give it to his grandson, who's a Kohen, or the same thing with a Levi. But how could they take them? They're forbidden. The Kohen Levim are not allowed to have enough from him. So he says they could take it Bal Karchach. How could they take it Bal Karchach? He made a neder that they can't have enough from him. What's brought in the Mishnah? So I'll tell you what. The fact that they take it from him, they're not really gaining any. There's no gain over there because the little bit of Tovas and of goodwill is not considered like money. So therefore, when they take him, they're not really having enough from him. But they take him without giving him that. They're not really money. That's apparently what he means. Alma Tovasana Einam Alma, Aim a Sefer. The Sefer is calling him Elu Avim Elu. Nehen Neneli, Yitlu Acherim. Other people should take it. The whole Gemara talks about maybe they themselves could take it. Yitlu Acherim, other people, other Kohanim could take it. Avalahani Lo. Why not these people? Alma Tovasana Mama. And he says, these Kohanim and these Levim cannot have enough for me. The other ones, so what do you? So other Kohanim Levim will take it. Why can't these? If Tovas Hana is not money, what Hana are they getting from him? And so what Hana are the Kohanim? Let's look at it from the Kohanim's point of view. What Hana are they getting from this guy? Oh, they're getting Hana because he's giving them Truma, right? He's giving them Truma. Well, what's the Truma worth? It's not worth much on the market. Only Kohen get. It's worth the goodwill that somebody would pay, that a grandfather would pay to get his grandson to get that money. So if that's not considered in the first part of the Mishnah, it says Kohen could take it, even though he forswore them from having Anah, that they could still take the Truma. Why? Because all it's worth is Tovasana. Tovasana is not considered cash, not considered money, not going to have Anah. So why in the latter case, when he says these Kohanim, these Kohanim over there can't have enough for me, other Kohanim could, why? Why can't the other, because the first Kohanim also have Anah? It's not money. It's not, you're not getting any Anah from the guy. So it's mashma that it is mamon, because you say the Kohanim that he forbade specifically, this guy, this particular Kohen, Yankel the Kohen, I don't want him to have enough for me. You say, okay, he can't take it, give it to other Kohanim. Why can't Yankel also if it's not money? So there seems to be a steer in the Mishnah. Amar Hoshia, Lo Kasha, Rabbi Rav Shapiro. So first he wants to say, you know what? There's a machlokas here between Rabbi and Rav Shapiro whether it is Tovas Hana. Right? And the Mishnah is like the first part of the Mishnah is Rabbi Shapiro, the second part is Rabbi, the Tanya. So let's say somebody steals, the Ganab steals somebody else's untithed crop. When he ate it all up, whatever he did. Not worried about it. He ate it while it was tevel or not, but it's gone. How much does he have to pay? The whole crop was worth $100, but 10% of the crop, let's say the Trum and the Mais, let's say approximately 10%, was going to be given away anyway. So what's the halacha? So Misham Rebbe says you got to pay for the whole thing. You got to pay for the whole thing, even though he had to give Trumas and Maisus from that. So the owner really only lost approximately 90%, right? Because still you got to pay the whole thing. You may play, you have to pay the whole thing. Rabbi Yosef, you only have to pay the amount of chum. Let's say the 90% that remains Shabbat. My level, what's the machlokas here? Aren't we speaking? This is machlokas in Daf Pehei. To Rabbi Sabar, Rabbi holds Tova Sanaz Mama. Rabbi holds, yeah, but it's true that I have to give away, the owner of the crop has to give away the Truma and Meiser, but that's worth something. It's money, right? Pay money. Okay, pay me full value for the 90% and the goodwill value for the other 10%, because somebody could pay me money to give Trumas Meisers to their grandson, right? The grandson's a coin. Rebbe Savar Tavas on Amman. Rebbe owes it's worth something. Therefore, Rebbe says, if you stole somebody's untithed crop, you got to pay the full value. Okay, in a chanami, you got to pay the whole value, even if you allow a little bit more for the Tavas Anah. Says the Ron at the last line on the page. When he says you pay the whole amount, meaning 90% full value, and the other 10% according to Tavas Anah Sheish Bohem. Still Tavas Anah's Mammon. But Rabbi Yosef Yehuda says no, you only pay the 90% of chulin. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda's Tavas Anah's Ein Mammon. So that's the machlokes in our Mishnah too. The first part of the Mishnah, which says what? That if you've sold all Kohanim Levim can't have any enough from me, they can still take your Trumas and Meises. Why? The answer is because all the only value there is the goodwill that you could get for it. It's not worth anything to you. It's only the goodwill that you can get. Goodwill is not considered money. Therefore, they could take it. The safe that says no. If I forbade Yankel the Kohen from having enough for me, other Kohanim have to take the Trumas and Meises. Why can't Yankel also sometimes? The answer is the safe of the Mishnah goes like Rav Yosef Yehuda says, Tovas Hana. The safest Rebbe holds Tavas is Mamo. Again, Rebbe said, if you steal somebody's untithed crop, you have to pay the whole value, because he holds that Tavas is money. Tavas is money. It's worth something. Okay, so pay full value, meaning you have to pay the whole 100%, even though the last 10% you pay a little bit less. You only pay the goodwill, but you have to pay for the whole 100%. Whereas Rabbi Yosef Yehuda says no, you only pay Meichulish. Why? Because Rabbi Yosef Yehuda holds Tavas is not money. So the ratio of the Mishnah will go like Rabbi Yosef Yehuda. Therefore, a Kohanim could take from you, even though you forswore that they won't be able to have enough from you. And the Seifa that says that if I sold Yankel, the Kohen can't have enough for me, he can't have enough, other people can. That goes like Rebbe holds Tavasana is Mami. Says the Gemara, no, the Kulam Tavasana ain't a Mami. Everybody holds that the goodwill is not considered money. Elahacha, the Matanish Lohum Kamifically. Here the question is this. Matanas Kuna, the goodwill, the truma and the ma'aser you have to give that haven't been removed yet from the crop, is that as if they're removed or not, right? And as Ron explains, the Gemara doesn't expand it over here, but take a look at the Ron on the third line on the left side, third line from the top of the page. Matanas Shlomo Kamifgi, the Rebbe Sabar keeping Shlomo Trumas Ma'asers have a look at chulin, since they haven't been removed yet. Rebbe holds it's like chulin. You stole from me a crop 100%, give me back the whole thing. You haven't taken Trumas from Isis yet. When you stole from me, it was all tevel, right? It was untied. Give me the whole value. The lav can be shormadam. It hasn't been. Rabbi Yossi Savar, no. Rabbi Yossi Yehuda, no. It's as if they've already been removed. So vein lo klum mishum hachi ein misham lo tmeicholish, but you don't pay because it's like they've already been removed. So everybody else Tavasana is not money. But the question over here is when you stole it untied. So Rebbe said he stole it untied. Give it to me back untied. Give me the whole value. Yes, there's Trumas and Meises in there, but they haven't been removed yet. They haven't removed the Trumas and Meises, so it's still all chulim. And Rabbi Yossi holds no, it's as if they've been removed already. That's the machlokus over there. Truth is, you could have said that kulam Trumas is mammon, but that's not important. The point is, though, the Gemara says e Tavasana in mammon. If Tavasana is mammon, mali homer. What's the difference if it was Trumas or not? Tavasana is not money anyway. What's the difference if they've been removed or not? Tavasana is not money. If Tavasana is not money, then who cares? Mali Hormer says the Ran. Even Tavasana Maman, Kilo Hormu Mahava, even if they haven't been removed. The Psychological there's Trumas or Meises in there, it's not worth anything. It's Tavasana, whatever it's going to be, 10% is not going to be worth anything. So what does he take? Elohim and time with the Rebbe. The reason why Rebbe holds that, the Rebbe holds this. And the Ran says you could learn either Tavasana is Maman or Tavasana is not money. The Rashi says that Tavasana is not money, but the point is the machlokas Rebbe and Rabbi Yehuda is very simple. The Rebbe holds konsul oganav ke'ech lo nigdav. The truth is, let's assume that that Tavasana is not money. Why does Rebbe say you have to pay full value? You stole untied, you got to pay full value. It's a knas. Really, you only stole 90%. The value you only stole is 90% because the other 10% has no value. But you know what? We give a knas. You stole, you got to pay back the whole thing. It's a knas, so you shouldn't steal. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda says no, the other way around. Savakansur Rabbanan Labalabayas. The guy stole, the Ganav stole 100%. He only has to pay back 90%. Only has to pay back 90%. He doesn't have to pay for the other stuff. Why? That was only Tavasana. And just the opposite. We constant the Balabayas. We should have given Tumas Mises right away. The guy stole untied. What are you doing with untied crops? We should have given you Tumas Mises right away. And because of that, we're only going to give you back the value of 90%. So the machlokas there is a total machlokas. There's nothing to do with Tavasana is money or not money. And now we don't have an answer in the Mishnah. The first part of the Mishnah says, you've told Kohanim and Levim nobody can have enough from you. They could take it anyway. Why could they take it anyway? Apparently because Tavasana is not money, right? It's not worth anything. So they're not having enough from you. But then you said, if I said Yankel the Kohen can't have enough from me, he can't. Everybody else could take. Let the other Kohanim take it. Why can't he can't if it's not worth anything anyway? So we don't have an answer to that. We gave one answer. Again, Rav should try to give an answer, but we've slugged that up. So what's the difference in the ratio of the Seifa? So Rav, just like before, in the previous Gemara, when we had the Machlokas Rabbanan and Rav Lezman, we said, no, there it's a different Machlokas. What a person is there, we talked about the Amoritz, is he suspected or not suspected? It has nothing to do with our Shaila. Rabbi gave an answer and said it depends on the Ma'aser Sheni, if you give it from your house or you give it from the granary. Here also, Rabbi comes up with the answer. Rabbi Amar, shiny truma, the Hainu time. The reason why the difference by truma is the time, the Yitlu al Karcha. Why could they take it by Karcha? Mishum the truma lo chazi ela kahanim. Truma is only roy for kahanim to eat. For everybody else, and the you have to say when the Mishnah talks about presumably it means the kohanim. Kohanim levim nanim li kohanim elu levim elu nanim li yitlu acherim. There it's maybe easier to understand with levim. Here where you say kohanim levim nanim li yitlu bal karcho, and the Gemara's answer now apparently is on kohanim more. We're talking about truma. Rav Amar shiny truma the hainu time of the yiluko. Why could they take it? We should the truma lechazikam. Truma can only be by kohanim. It's not true. See, for meiser, we're not talking about meiser, we're talking about the truma over here. Because for meiser could be eaten by regular people also. They have to give it to Levi, but it's only right for truma is only right for kohanim. The kiva the kaasi lemesra alayu. Since what he's forbidding it on them, on the kohanim. Who's going to eat it? Shafi after be'alma. It's worth dirt. Yes, it's true. It's true what you're saying. That it could very well be that Tobasana is mama. And like the Sefer says, if you forbid these Kohanim, but other Kohanim they're allowed to. But if you forbid all Kohanim in the ratio of the Mishnah, all Kohanim can't have enough for me, right? So what's going to happen with this Truma? You have to give Truma. You can't eat it. Now you're saying nobody can eat it. The Kohanim can eat it, and you can't eat it. So what have you made it? You made it. You've abandoned it. You forfeited it. It's like you're saying it's hefker. So Shavi made it like Afar Ba'alma. And if you made it like Afar Ba'alma, then you've abandoned your goodwill. Even if you say Tavasana's Mama in the Seifa, you've abandoned your goodwill. So you see over here, Meir Shapiro says the Ran She'osar Anos Peres Alatzmo Chamachem Litol Oso Val Karchov Ein Yochel La'akav. In other words, if you've forbidden your Hanos on yourself, other people could take it, because if you've forbidden on yourself, then it's not worth anything, and therefore other people could take it. Because here you said effectively, the Seifa says the Ran, and the Ran before the lines get wide, in the narrow lines, the end of the narrow lines, Ran says, the Seifa is good, the Kohanim Elu, let other Kohanim take it. I forbade Yankel, fine. It's worth money. Yankel can't take it. Other people can't. But Reish on a time with Yigul Bakok, Mishum the Truma Lachazi Elokahanim, Sheef Shalit Yisrael, Hilkof Kiban, the Australayo, Shavi Ahmed Afgre Lahi Tobasana, Sheish Lava. Whatever goodwill value he had in the Truma, he's abandoned that, because he said, I can't eat the Truma, right? And I'm forbidding all Kohanim. So therefore, if the grandfather of some kid Cohen comes over to me and gives me $5, I should give this ransom. I can't, because all Kohanim can't have enough for me. So I've abandoned it. So in this case, I've abandoned my goodwill, and therefore it's like Hefker. And as it's Hefker, anybody can take it. They're not having enough from me. It's like it should compare, and everybody can have enough from him. All right, we'll pick him here tomorrow. Mitzvah Hashem, have a good day.
Mishpah Omer, and because of the nectar.